I've got these amazing Panda cookie cutters from tofucute.com, and we're going to make some cookies today. So these are the list of ingredients that you are going to need. First of all, you're going to need 4 Weetabix, 100 grams of porridge oats, 100 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of brown sugar, 20 grams of chocolate chunks, 12 tablespoons of apricots, 3 tablespoons of margarine, 2 tablespoons of golden syrup, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate soda, 60 milliliters of boiling water, and for the icing, some white regal icing and some black food colouring. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get my bowl, and we need to get our Weetabix as well. And these Weetabix need to be crushed. There's 4 in here, so just going to roughly crush them up just between my fingers. Doesn't matter if there's some chunky bits in there, they do break up quite easily. There's always plenty left over in the packet for breakfast. So we'll get these crushed. I have to admit, Weetabix are one of my favourite cereals. They're nice and healthy. You can eat them within 2 minutes in the morning, really easy before you go to work. So that's done. The next thing we're going to add is our rolled oats, which are these ones here. There is 100 grams of these, so there's not many. They do kind of make up just under half the mixture, but once again, these are absolutely delicious. Another cereal, so even if you don't want to have these cookies as sort of an afternoon snack or before you go to bed, you can have them as a breakfast as well. You just don't put the icing on the top. The next thing we're going to add is the flour and the sugar. They'll go in there. If you want to make this a little bit healthier, you can also use whole meat or whole wheat flour. But we have to be a little bit naughty, especially if you're using cereal to make biscuits. And we're also going to add the chocolate bits. Now it does say in the recipe that I've tried before to use 50 grams of these. I only add 20 just because I add a little bit more apricot just to make it a little bit fruitier. It also goes a lot better with the icing in my opinion. So we have the apricots as well. It does say in the recipe that I found online on allrecipes.com, which is amazing. I'll put a link down there, that you can use 10 tablespoons of apricots. I personally have 12 just because they are my favourite. It also suggests you can use dry apricots with this as well, but I just love the way that the fresh apricots make the cookies that little bit more kind of juicy and less kind of crumbly, especially if you've got quite dry cereals in there. So we just need to give this a good mix together. Now it doesn't have to be too thorough at the moment, we're just wanting to get everything sort of in together, make sure that nothing's left uncoated. You can see all the apricots in there, covered in flour and the sugar. And that's just going to make them really, really yummy. They are quite chunky at the moment, but as I say, they will get smaller once you start cooking them and all those juices start oozing out of them in the oven, which I have got already on. It is currently at 160 degrees Celsius. That's on a fan oven. I'm not 100% sure what the difference would be if you don't have a fan on your oven, but as I say, that is online if you want to follow the allrecipes.com recipe. All the different information is on there. So we are now going to move on to the next part. Right, the next part of this, I need to grab a smaller bowl. You need to make sure this one is microwave proof, very important. Preferably no metal. Wouldn't want to see that happening. So we're going to add 3 tablespoons of margarine in there. We are also going to grab our 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. You can also use honey in this if you're not wanting it to be sort of as thick and as sweet, but I think golden syrup is definitely the way forward for these kind of cookies. So that's all in there. So as you can see, we just need to give it a little bit of a mix. Because we're using margarine, we're using reduced fat margarine for this. You can see already it's starting to melt. So what we need to do, we just need to put this in the microwave. It doesn't need to be in there for so long. As I said, the margarine is already quite soft. So I'm just going to pop that in the microwave for about 20 seconds and we'll be back. Right, so I'm back with this. As you can see, it's all melted deliciously. I had it in there for just about 20 seconds. That is on a 750 watt microwave. Obviously, if you do have an 800 watt, I'd suggest sticking it in for about 15 seconds. Obviously, 600 watt, you might want to give it 25, but just check it just to make sure until it's got this lovely consistency. It's just about completely melted. So now we're going to put that to one side. What we need to do now is mix together the bicarbonate of soda and water and pour that into that mixture. So we are just going to grab another small bowl. We have our bicarbonate of soda here, just 1 teaspoon of that. We also need water for this. We need 60 ml of water, but as I say, it does need to be boiling water, so I'm going to pop the kettle on, be back in a second. Right, so we have here 60 ml of boiling water, fresh from the kettle. We're going to add that a little bit at a time to the bicarbonate of soda. As you can see, it is fizzing up quite a lot. So we are just going to give that a little bit of a stir, not too vigorously, just until it's started to combine. We're then going to add the butter and golden syrup mixture to this. Put that all in there. And we are going to just carefully fold that in together. And it smells absolutely delicious. It's got a very, very sweet smell to it, which I'm really looking forward to eating. Right, now the next step, we're going to get our mixture before with our Weetabix and our rolled oats, and we are going to just pour this over. If you add half the mixture to start with, and just get a spatula and start folding that in. This mixture will start to get quite sticky and just oozing with deliciousness. If you do find that you have added a couple too many oats, or that it's not quite sticky enough, it's not combining together, you can just add a little bit more boiling water mixed with a little bit more melted butter. I wouldn't suggest adding any more honey or bicarbonate of soda, because that could give it too sweet or too sour taste. This is coming together nicely. So we'll just carry on mixing this until it's all combined and it is in a delicious sticky state. Right, so we've been mixing this for about 5 minutes. You can see now it's come together. It's got this beautifully sticky quality. It's all combined together. It smells absolutely gorgeous, like a very, very rich, honey intensified porridge. So what we're going to do is put this to one side. Just need to grab a baking tray, and I am going to lightly brush this with some reduced fat margarine, just to stop the cookies sticking. So give that a good coating. The worst thing that I find when baking is that your cookies or your cakes or whatever you're making sticks to the bottom of the pans or to the side of the tins, and it just makes them look like they've basically been destroyed once you've taken them out of the oven, which is such a shame because it's such an enjoyable thing to bake and make something yummy for everyone else to eat. So once we've got that completely covered, I'm just going to take a spatula out of there. Then I'm just going to grab our spoon. I'm not going to make many cookies, I'm just going to do just a couple to show you. You want a semi-heaped spoonful, about that much. I'm just going to place that there. Now you just want to flatten them down slightly, just so you can guarantee the size of your Panda cutters. If I get one here, you can just see that'll just about fit there, and it'll be beautiful. So, just going to repeat that. I'm just going to make 3 for you here, just because that's the number of full Pandas I have. And then once you've done that, if you just grab another spoonful and squash that down on the top, it's much nicer when they're thicker cookies. If you just try and get some mixture that hasn't got too many apricots in, just on the top, just so it can seal that cookie in. And we're just going to flatten that down a little bit. Okay. Right, I'm going to pop this in the oven at 160 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Check it after 15 minutes just to make sure. So you've got a fan oven, they'll cook more evenly. If you don't, you might want to just turn it round after about 10 minutes just to see how it's getting on. Okay, so the biscuits are all cool. I've cut them out already. I've got my little panda shapes. They look a little bit weird at the moment, but you can see the cookies become nice and firm. Still a little bit soft with the apricots in. So I've made up one already. This is how the pandas are going to turn out. My decorating skills aren't the best, but clearly it is a panda and very adorable. So all I've done in the break, I showed you me making up this black regal icing, which isn't as black as I would like it to be, but with the icing that I've got, the food colouring does make it a little bit too squishy to work with, so we're just going to go with it. They look perfectly fine. They are very adorable once they're made up. We've put a tiny bit more flour down, and then we're just going to pat this down gently, give it a gentle roll with the rolling pin. Don't want it to be too thin. And then all we're going to do is take our cutter and we're going to cut out the shapes that are designated in the black. So we have got our panda base there. We also get our panda eyes and our little nose there. We'll get our white icing next. So I haven't moulded this one yet, so I'm just going to give it a quick squeeze between my fingers. Spread our flour out a little bit more just so it doesn't stick to our base. Get a tiny bit of flour on our rolling pin. I want to just roll that out to a similar thickness. It doesn't have to be too thick. We're talking maybe 2 to 3 millimeters. And then we want to get our white cutter that we have here. We just want to press that down first to get the circular section for the face. And then we want to press it down again just to get our little arm on the opposite side. You can pop that out and put that to one side. Right, so we've got all our bits together. We're going to grab our cookie, and the first thing we're going to do is just get a little bit of light reduced fat margarine. Just spread just a thin, very thin layer on the back. That's just going to help it stick to our cookie that little bit better. So we want to centre him onto our cookie, press it down very gently, and then the next bit we need is the white round face section. Same with that, bit of butter on it just to help it stick. Push that down. Then we need to get our arm section, a little bit of butter on that as well, and what we're going to do is we're going to place that here, running across there, and then just going to get his nose out like that, put his nose on there, get his eyes. Now because these are quite small and you can squash them down quite a lot, we're not going to need any butter to stick these on. They do have the proper igu eyes of a Japanese character. So we're just going to grab a plate and pop our 3 little pandas on there. Oh, one of his eyes has come off. Squish him down. So that is our 3 slightly derpy but very adorable panda wholemeal and porridge biscuits.